A very good morning to my dear students. I hope that you are doing well and keeping safe at your homes. Once again, welcome back to 7th grade English class. In the last class, we had just started the last chapter which is to be completed from your course book. Yeah, the play entitled The Adventure of the Three Students written by Arthur Conan Doyle. Okay, and in the last class, we had taken the first scene, and we came to know that in the first scene, while Holmes and Watson were conversing with each other in his living room, there entered the college professor and explained about his present condition, and he sought the help of Sherlock Holmes. When knowing that Holmes was not interested in this case, Holmes said that there was no one other than Holmes who could help him in this difficult situation. And when Holmes started to speak about each and every minute detail of the case, Holmes expressed an interest in the case, and Holmes asked him to complete the narration of the incident. Okay, so in that way we discussed things that happened in the first scene in a very detailed manner, and I hope that you have a very clear idea about the incidents that happened in the scene number first scene number 1 that happened in the living room. So now we can move to the discussion of the second and third scene today in this class. Okay, now we are actually moving to discuss scene number 2. Okay, so now we can go to discuss the second scene. The second scene actually happens in the study of the tutor. Okay, so you can go to read that explanation of the scene. We don't have that much time to read everything, so please come back to the conversation. Holmes, your servant seems to have recovered. Did you say you left him in a chair? Which chair? Holmes, by the window there. I see, near this little table we can see the courtyard through his window. Of course, what has happened is very clear. The man entered and took the papers sheet by sheet from the central table. He carried them over to the window table because from there he could see if he came across the courtyard and so could escape in time. But he could not. I entered by the side gate. Oh, that's good. Well, anyhow, that was in his mind. Let me see the 3 pages. Well, he carried over the first one and he copied it. It would have taken him at least 15 minutes, not less. Then he tossed it down and seized the next. When you returned unexpectedly, he had no time to replace the papers. He was in a hurry to get away. Did you hear anyone running away as you entered? No, I can't say I did. I see. Well, he wrote so furiously that he broke his pencil and had as you observed to sharpen it again. Now for the central table, is this the black duffy mass you spoke of? Is it roughly pyramidal in shape and hollowed out? There appear to be grains of sawdust in it, like you said, and the cut is a positive tear. I see. It began with a thin scratch and entered in a jagged hole. Where does that door leads to? So then Holmes was actually continuously asking so many questions to Holmes. Okay, the first question Holmes asked to Holmes was, what about the condition of the servant Bannister? Then Holmes said that he had not recovered yet. He was actually remaining on a chair. Then Holmes asked on what chair he was sitting. Then he said he was actually sitting on a chair near the window. I see, near this little table. Okay, so there was actually a central table. So then Holmes said that now he got the idea. The man entered out from outside, entered into the hall and took the papers on the central table. And after examining all these papers, he suddenly went to the table near the window, so that if someone arrived, he could simply see the presence of them through the window. So in that way, Holmes assumed that a Bannister actually did the malpractice. Then suddenly Soames disagreed with that. Soames said that no way, I entered by the side gate. He entered by the side gate. So the person who sat near the window could never see his presence. Okay. Then again, Holmes gave another conclusions. Yeah, Holmes said that the man entered into the room, actually saw the papers, and he tried to copy these script on the paper, and he completed copying the script on the first paper. Suddenly he detected the presence of somebody entering or approaching the room. Suddenly he did not have that much time to hide all these things and escape. Then he hurriedly left the room. So this was actually happened. So in that way he gave his assumption, and he asked Soames whether he heard the sound of someone leaving as quickly as possible. Then Soames said that he didn't hear any similar sounds. And he again said that in the previous scene we came to know that the intruder had left some clues that the intruder had been there. So then Holmes came back to that point. Yeah, there were actually the shrubs of pencil on the table. Then Holmes came to the conclusion that the person was actually writing something on the paper in a furious manner. So the thread, the tip of the pencil was broken. Then he again used the sharpener in order to sharpen the pencil. So that is actually the shrubs of pencil on the table. So in that way he arrived in such conclusions. Okay. And we also came to know that there was actually a cut on the table, on the leather table, and it was actually the cut mark was actually starting as a thin mark, but later it ended in a jagged hole. Okay, then listen. Soames, to my bedroom. Holmes, have you been in it since your adventure? No, I came straight away from you. I should like to have a glance round. Perhaps you will kindly wait a minute until I have examined the door. Holmes, okay. What a charming old-fashioned room. I see nothing on the floor though. What about this curtain? You hang your clothes behind it. If anyone were forced to conceal himself in this room, he must do it there, since the bed is too low and the wardrobe too shallow. No one there, I suppose. Hello, what is this? Your visitor seems to have left traces in your bedroom as well as in your study. Mr. Soames, here is a small pyramid of black putty-like stuff, exactly like the one upon the table of the study. But what could he have wanted there? I think it's clear enough. You came back unexpectedly, and so he had no time to escape. What could he do? He rushed into your bedroom to conceal himself. God gracious. Mr. Holmes, did you mean to tell me that all the time I was talking to Bannister in this room, the man was hiding in the next room? Then suddenly Holmes told Soames that he actually wanted to examine the room, his bedroom. Then Holmes went to the bedroom and he examined the bedroom very closely, in a very studious manner. After when he left the bedroom, he said to Soames that the intruder had left some clues there on the bedroom also. We came to see in the last scene that there was actually shrubs of pencil on the table. So likewise, Holmes could see shrubs of pencil on the bedroom also. So he came to the conclusion that Yeah, the intruder was actually while the intruder was actually copying the script from the printing paper, he detected the presence of someone approaching the room. Suddenly he didn't have that much time to escape. Suddenly he didn't have that much time to hide himself. So suddenly he took resort in where? Took resort in the bedroom. So that might be the reason there were also the shreds of pencil. Then Soames got excited. Then Holmes said to Soames in a surprising manner, so you are saying, yeah, you are saying that the intruder was there when I was talking to Bannister about all these things? Then he got surprised. So it was, I understand you have 3 students who live here. In a few words, could you describe the character of these boys? On the lowest of the 3 floors lives Gilchrist, a fine scholar and athlete. He plays in the rugby team and the cricket team for the college and got many medals for the hurdles and the long jump. He is a fine fellow. Was his father Sir Jabez Gilchrist the one who lost his wealth? Yes, but the boy is hardworking and industrious. He will do well. On the second floor is Daulat Dras. He is a quiet fellow, steady and methodical. He is a good student. The top floor belongs to Miles McLaren. He is brilliant when he chooses to work, one of the brightest students of the university, but he is unruly and unprincipled. He has been lazy all this term and he must dread the examination. Then Holmes asked about the details of the students who were living there. Then Soames said that there were actually 3 students, Gilchrist, then Daulat Dras and McLaren. Gilchrist was actually the son of a son of a wealthy person. Gilchrist was actually an industrious and hardworking person, similar to that of Gilchrist. Daulat Dras was also a well-do person, but on contrary to these first 2 persons, yeah, McLaren was not that much good. He was unruly and unprincipled or something. So in that way he explained everything about those 3 students. Now listen. Holmes, I see. Now Mr. Soames, let us have a look at your servant Bannister. Mr. Holmes and Mr. Watson are investigating this unhappy business, Bannister. I understand that you left your key in the door. Yes, sir. Wasn't it extraordinary that you should do this on the very day when there was these papers inside? It was most unfortunate, sir, but the same thing has happened at other times. When did you enter the room? It was about 4:30. That is Mr. Soames' tea time. When I saw that he was absent, I withdrew at once. Did you look at these papers on the table? No, sir, certainly not. When Mr. Soames returned and called for you, you were very disturbed. Yes, sir, such a thing has never happened during the many years that I have been here. I nearly fainted, sir. So then Holmes actually said to Soames that he actually wanted to question Bannister. Then Bannister was brought there and Holmes asked many questions to Bannister. Holmes asked the first question that, yeah, wasn't it extraordinary to happen this thing at the very eve of an examination day? Yeah, Holmes asked him, yeah, was this proper on your side? Yeah, to happen such a incident at the very eve of examination day? Yeah, because Holmes was saying that it was actually his duty to do all these things, or it was actually there should be his attention on all those matters, because it was actually the eve of examination. So he also had to take extra care. So Holmes was asking him, was this an acceptable thing on his side? Then Bannister said that no, it was his mistake. And Bannister was so sad that this thing was happened in such a very very serious time, or before the starting of the examination. Okay. And then Holmes asked one more question. When Soames called you after finding that the question papers were leaked, you were very disturbed. Then Holmes asked what was actually the reason for that. Then Bannister said that, sir, I was very much disturbed when my master called me and informed about this incident, because the reason is very simple. It was in no way a thing which should not be happened. So when the master informed about this thing, I was quite sad, because yeah, if such a thing happened, that was actually the result of his carelessness too. So in that way, that was actually the reason he was sad. So in that way he replied. So I understand. Where were you when you began to feel bad? Where was I, sir? Why here near the door? That is curious. When you felt pain, you walked to the other end of the room and sat down in the chair near the window. Why did you pass these other chairs? I don't know, sir. It didn't matter to me where I sat. I really don't think he knew much about it. Mr. Holmes, he was looking very bad, quite ghastly. You stayed here when your master left. Only for a minute or so. Then I locked the door and went to my room. Thank you, that will do. Oh, one more word. You have not mentioned to any of the three gentlemen you attend to that anything is amiss. No, sir, not a word. Very good. Thank you, Bannister. Then Holmes asked some more questions to Bannister that you were actually sitting on the chair near the window. Why you chose the chair on the chair near the window? Because there were chairs in the center part of the room. Avoiding those chairs, why did you take the chair near the window? Was it purposefully? Yeah, you chose the table near the window in order to see someone approaching the room through the window. So in that way, Holmes questioned. Yeah. So then he said that, sir, I didn't know exactly about those things, because at the time I was not in a good physical condition. So it wasn't matter to me in which chair I sat or not. So in that way he replied. Then Holmes asked about the three students to Bannister. So in that way he questioned Bannister, and it was over within a few minutes. Okay. Now, Mr. Soames, can you tell me the exact height of your students? I cannot say precisely, but Miles McLaren is about 5'6", I suppose. Dowlett is shorter than him. Gilchrist is much taller than both of them, above 6 feet. I would say I don't see why that is important, Mr. Holmes. That is very important. And now, Mr. Soames, I wish you good night. Good gracious, Mr. Holmes, tomorrow is the examination. I must take some definite action tonight. I cannot allow the examination to be held if one of the papers has been tampered with. Put your mind at ease, Mr. Soames. By morning tomorrow, we will have a way out of your difficulties. Goodbye. Good night, Mr. Holmes. Then Holmes asked about the exact height of these students. Then Soames said that he did not know the exact height. Anyway, he gave a rough calculation. Then Soames reminded that tomorrow is actually the examination, so he had to do something, because if the question paper was leaked, he could not conduct the examination. He didn't allow some undeserved man to bag the scholarship. Okay, so in that way he asked Holmes whether he would be able to conduct the examination or not. Then Holmes said that, don't get confused, or don't get panicked, don't get worried. You please go and have a sound sleep. Everything will be all right in the morning. We will. He said that he would definitely find a solution before the morning. Okay. So in that way, scene 2 ends. Now we are actually entering to scene 3. Scene 3 is actually happening in the tutor's study hall. Okay. Now, look at the conversation. Soames, good morning, Mr. Holmes. Thank heavens that you have come. I feared that you had given up in despair. What I am to do? Should the examination proceed? Holmes, yes, let it proceed by all means. Holmes, but this rascal. Holmes, he will not compete. You have formed a conclusion. Holmes, yes, my dear Watson, I have solved the mystery. Holmes, what fresh evidence could you have got? Holmes, aha, I turned myself out of bed at 6 this morning. I have something to show for it. Look at that. Watson, more black, Duffy clay. Precisely. So, it is a fair argument that wherever this clay came from could be the source of the clay found on the table and in the bedroom. Oh, Watson. Watson, certainly. Holmes, now Mr. Soames kindly summoned Bannister. Okay. Then, when it was actually the next morning, Soames again asked Holmes whether he would be able to conduct the examination. Then Holmes said that please make arrangement in order to conduct the examination. Then Watson was surprised and Watson asked Holmes whether he found the solution. Then Holmes said that I found the he found the solution and the rascal means the one who stole the question paper. Okay. He said that the rascal would not attend the exam in any way. Before that, he gave the assurance that he would be caught. Okay. Then Holmes remarked about some evidence he found regarding this case. That was actually discussing in the last part of page number 135. Precisely. So, it is a fair argument that whatever this clay came. So, actually they detected the presence of a Duffy clay. And so, it is a fair argument that wherever this clay came from could be the source of the clay found on the table and in the bedroom. So, they could actually they detected the presence of the clay on the on the table where the papers were kept and in the bedroom also. So, wherever this clay came from could be the source of the clay found on the table. So, if they would be able to find the source of the clay, yeah, the case could be closed. Okay. So, in that way, kindly close the door. Now, Bannister, will you please tell us the truth about yesterday's incident? And then Holmes asked others to summon, to call whom? Bannister. Kindly close the door. Now, Bannister, will you please tell us the truth about yesterday's incident? I have told you everything, sir. Nothing to add, nothing at all, sir. Well, then I must make some suggestion to you. When you sat down on that chair yesterday, did you do so in order to conceal some object which would have shown who had been in the room? No, sir, certainly not. It's only a suggestion. I frankly admit that I am unable to prove it, but it seems probable enough since you released the man who was hiding in that bedroom. There was no man, sir. Oh, that's pity, Bannister. Up to now, you may have spoken the truth, but now I know that you have lied. There was no man, sir. In that case, you can give us no further information. Now, Soames, will you please call Gilchrist? Then Holmes started questioning Bannister, and Holmes asked Bannister to reveal the truth. And Holmes asked Bannister while he was actually sitting on the chair, whether he concealed himself, whether he sat there as if in a manner to conceal some object from the sight of somebody approaching the room. Then he said that he hadn't concealed anything. Then Holmes said that he didn't have any evidence to prove it, but it was probable, since Bannister released the man who was hiding in the bedroom. Then Bannister said that, no sir, there was no man in the room or something like that. Then Holmes then asked others to summon Gilchrist. Then Gilchrist arrived. Now, Mr. Gilchrist, we can perfectly frank with each other, and no one need ever know one word of what passes between us. We want to know, Mr. Gilchrist, how you, an honourable man, ever came to commit such an action as that of yesterday. Then Gilchrist, try to speak the truth only. and have a frank speech in between us. So, in that way Holmes asked or insisted him to reveal the truth, and Holmes asked him how a man of good standard could do such an unacceptable thing. Okay, Bannister, no, Mr. Gilchrist, sir, I never said a word, never one word. Then Bannister intervened. He felt some kind of problem. Bannister intervened and said that he hadn't said anything to Gilchrist. Holmes, no, but you have now, Gilchrist, so you must consent. Stop. Let Gilchrist confess. Come, it's human to err. Perhaps it would be easier for you if I were to tell Mr. Soames what occurred and you can check me where I am wrong. Holmes said that, please reveal the truth. It was human to do something unnecessary, because every humans have always a tendency to do some sin. So, don't mind that, you please come up with the exact thing that happened yesterday. Yesterday when I examined the rooms, I realized that the one who entered this room knew that the papers were there. How did he know? When I studied the window, I understood that if the papers were left on the central table, there or any tall person passing by the window could see what papers there were. Then Holmes gave his assumption. He said that a person who arrived the room would be 100% sure that they were the papers on the table. Then how the person could know that the papers were there on the table? Only the tallest person can simply detect the presence of the papers on the table. Okay. When Mr. Soames described Gilchrist as being above 6 feet tall, you knew it was him. Holmes, that and the fact that he is a long jumper, but I needed to collect proof, which is that what I did this morning. Then Watson intervened. Oh, that might be the thing you asked Soames about the exact height of these students. Then Holmes admitted that, but Holmes said that, but he had to wait till he got some extra proof. And he said that he got the proof in the morning. The black clay, Watson. Okay, then Watson said, oh, that was actually the black clay. Yes, what happened was this: Gilchrist has been practicing the jump all afternoon at the athletic ground. He returned carrying his jumping shoes, which have several sharp spikes. As he passed your window, he saw the pages on your table and guessed what they were. Then, as he passed your door on his way to his room, he saw the key on the door. On an impulse, he entered the room to see if there were indeed the proofs. When he saw the pages, he gave into temptation. He put the shoes on the table and something else on the chair. What was it you put on the chair? Gloves. Holmes. He put his gloves on the chair and he took the proofs sheet by sheet to copy them. The rest we already knew. Mr. Soames returned unexpectedly by the side gate and there was no way for him to escape. He forgot his gloves, but he grabbed his shoes and darted into the bedroom. You observe that the scratch on that table is slight at one side but deepens in the direction of the bedroom door. The tear on the leather table proves that the shoes had been pulled in that direction. He did in the bedroom. The dirt around the spikes fell on the table and in the bedroom. I went to the long jump pit this morning and mashed the clay and sewed it to the pit. Have I told the truth, Mr. Gilchrist? Then Holmes came to his assumption. Holmes said that Gilchrist was actually playing on the ground, and after finishing his play, he just came back, and as he was passing through the door, he was very tall, so he saw the papers on the table, and he also saw the door was not locked, and then he opened the door and then he checked the papers. Then he came to know that it was actually the examination, the question paper. Those were actually the question papers. So, then there occurred an impulse, a quick desire to copy it. So, then suddenly he started to copy those papers, and at the time suddenly Mr. Soames approached. Then he did not have time to make himself hidden. So, by throwing the gloves there, he just took resort in the bedroom. So, at that time he was actually he was returning from where? Jumping pit. So, he was actually wearing shoes, and the shoes had spikes. So, it was actually covered with mud. So, it was actually the so in that way they could detect the presence of clay, black clay there. So, in that way Holmes proved everything. Gilchrist: yes sir, it is true. Good heavens, have you nothing to add? Yes sir, I have a letter here which I wrote to you early this morning after a restless night. It was before I knew that I had been found out. Here it is, sir. It says, I have decided not to take the examination. I am indeed pleased to hear that you did not intend to take advantage of the situation, but why did you change your mind? Gilchrist: there is a man who set me on the right path. Then Gilchrist admitted everything, and Gilchrist also said that he wrote a paper, he wrote a letter, and he placed it on the table, and he, by pointing out to the table, he said that yeah, here it was. And he said that yeah, I decided that I would be caught before the examination time. So, I wrote a letter actually begging the pardon of whom? He actually felt guilty of doing such a thing. So, he wrote a letter saying that he was not interested to write the examination because he knew the question papers. So, he decided to quit the examination. So, all these things were written, and it was actually placed on the table. Then Holmes congratulated him for taking such a decision. Then Holmes asked, what actually made you to take such a decision? Then, by pointing to the person, by pointing to Bannister, Gilchrist said that he was actually the person, he was the reason. So, actually after copying the answer script, I felt guilty. If I felt guilty, Bannister would be the reason. Come on, Bannister, it is clear that only you could have let this young man out. Since only you were left in the room and must have locked the door when you went out, tell us the reasons for your action. It is simply enough, sir. I was butler to all Sir Jabez Gilchrist before I came to work here, but I never forgot my old employer. He was good to me. I was his son, all I could for the sake of the old days. When I came into this room yesterday, the very first thing I saw was Mr. Gilchrist's tan gloves lying in the chair. So, I pretended to faint and sat down in the chair near the window, so Mr. Soames would turn away and not see them on the chair. When he came to see you, my poor young master came out of this hiding and confessed it all to me. Wasn't natural, sir, that I should save him, and wasn't it natural also that I should try to speak to him as his father would have done and make him understand that he could not profit by such a deed? Could you blame me, sir? Holmes: no need. Well, Soames, I think we have cleared your little problem up. Come, Watson. As to you, sir, I trust that a bright future awaits you. For once you have fallen low, let us see in the future how high you can rise. Okay, so then Bannister explained everything. Bannister said that when Bannister approached the room, he saw Gilchrist was actually copying the things. Then Bannister said that before Bannister started serving as the servant of Mr. Soames, he was the servant of Gilchrist's father. Gilchrist's father was once a very rich person. So, when he saw his former employer's son doing such a criminal act, he was quite surprised and he was quite sad. So, he then approached this man, Gilchrist, and he explained that this was not the way to do something. This was not acceptable. This was not the way in order to make profit by doing such a bad thing. So, in that way he advised him. So, then suddenly there occurred a change in whom? Change in the mind or attitude of Gilchrist. So, Bannister was so sad, to witness Gilchrist doing such a criminal deed. because once Bannister was actually the servant of his father, and at that time his father was all the time remaining loyal and generous to whom? Generous to Bannister. So, in that way Bannister was indebted to his father and that entire family. So, when Bannister saw his previous or former employer's son was doing such a criminal deed, it was no way an acceptable thing for whom? For Bannister. So, Bannister spent his time in order to correct his mistake. Then Bannister said that it was not actually the right way to make profit by doing such criminal deeds. So, in that way he changed his attitude. Then everything was cleared in the last portion of the third scene. Then Gilchrist congratulated Holmes. Gilchrist said that Holmes had a very nice future in investigating cases. So, in that way by giving a message, what is actually the message? If we actually want to achieve something, never find any crooked way to achieve something higher. So, providing such a valuable message, the play ends. Okay. So, this message can be taken in your personal life also. If you come across such a situation in future in your life, you should behave in a wise manner. Okay. So, if we got a chance to make profit through some unacceptable manner, you need to quit that profit, because profit through unfair means would not last long. Okay. So, if we want profit, we have to work hard. So, that should be the thing you have to learn from this play. Okay. Anyway, I hope that you got everything which we discussed today. For the time being, we can wind up at this point. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye bye.